Hi, I want to do a little talk on the love of rehearsal. I'm often surprised by my own inability to play and how much I need to remind myself that play is essentially at the core of what we do. And I don't mean play as in wasting time or play as in not really meaning it. What I mean is the ability to continue to make offers, bold offers, even if they're not that great, as in even if they're not appropriate in the end, but the ability to keep trying new things pretty consistently through performance and rehearsal, even audition if you're brave enough, and that's when it becomes really fun. The love of rehearsal is a really, really important idea, principle, and path to follow. There are actors who love rehearsal and there are actors who love the end product. I think the latter kind of actor is possibly putting themselves under undue pressure. When you love the end product, when you seek to find an answer to what you're playing, you can become quite inhibited and brittle. Characters are not they're not equations to be solved. They're not tests to be answered correctly. In a way, they're like any other person. They're a kind of mystery. They're a multifaceted mystery, and therein lies enormous freedom. We were talking at one of our groups recently about playing the opposites during a scene, and what we were aiming at is allowing ourselves to consider the opposite of what our character wants. If I want a particular thing from somebody in a scene, what happens if I consider the opposite outcome? What does that do to me? So if I want somebody to just sit down and relax, what happens if I also consider the fact that they're irritating me because of their lack of or rather because of their restlessness. So not only am I trying and attempting to get somebody just to sit and, chill, have a seat, have a drink, whatever, I'm also exploring the idea that it's really bugging me that they're not doing it. That's what we mean by opposites. Not brilliantly explained there. Sorry, I'll do another video on that. But we are multifaceted. We're 3D. We're not 2D. We have so much going on. We have good and evil. We've got hate and love. We've got anger and joy, all the rest of it. And when we allow ourselves to accept that, we become very playful because we're not afraid of stepping over the boundary. You might have heard people say, even in a spoof, you might have heard somebody say, my character wouldn't do that. And it's kind of funny when people say it, isn't it? Because how do you know? How do you know what your character would and wouldn't do? We all do a million things that we wouldn't expect ourselves to do on a day-to-day basis. So taking off these restrictions, taking off these boundaries, allowing ourselves to enjoy the process of discovery is what we mean by the love of rehearsal. And I was talking with somebody I respect a great deal recently who was saying that he loves those actors who love rehearsal. And he was naming people that he'd worked with. Actors who find great joy in discovery and bold play and exciting offers and risky offers and things that you wouldn't expect from reading the page. But those actors can surprise you because they never limit themselves. They go, well, what happens if I do this with this line? Or what happens if I nudge you in that way? Or what happens if I shock you in this way? We can get very, very surprising results. And if you're working alongside other people who indeed love rehearsal and who aren't trying to answer the equation of the actor, they're available to what you do and they might respond in a very, very free and surprising way as well. And then you get something genuinely really exciting. You get a moving, breathing work of art, don't you? Which is, I guess, how you could describe acting. So I want to encourage myself and anybody else to keep working for the love of rehearsal, to keep being an actor who is available to whatever impulse arises. There will still be that moment, by the way, where we have to ask ourselves, is this entirely appropriate? As in, does this fit with my character's wants and desires? Now, that might sound like I'm saying the opposite of what I said before. I'm not. When we understand our characters' background and the context of their story through doing basic text analysis, check out the Complete Actors Toolkit for that in Gold and Green Room. When we understand the play well enough, then all of the cul-de-sacs and all the wonderful little dark areas that you might not normally explore become available to you, because you know that you're telling the right story. But if you come up with something completely random and completely left field just for the sake of being left field and random, that's not the same thing as playing opposites. That's not the same thing as being free. It's just being slightly arbitrary and not rooted in the story that you're trying to tell. So there is a difference there. Maybe we'll explore that another time as well. But you want to keep working to be, like I do, by the way, you want to keep working to be somebody who loves to get on their feet. Just those kind of people who you can't you can't hold them back. They want to get up on the floor. They want to play again. They want to try again. They're not afraid of stepping out in front of other people. They're not afraid of what the stage manager thinks or the other actor who's sitting in the corner waiting for their scene to be rehearsed. They're not afraid of judgment. What they're afraid of is not exploring all the possibilities. And that energy in the room is delightful, it's productive, it's creative. And when you carry that from rehearsal, and here's the point, onto the camera or onto the stage, then the audience are in for something that is alive and free and therefore deeply, deeply attractive and deeply, deeply impacting. What they're not going to respond to is somebody making a decision on day one of rehearsal, repeating it until it's absolutely clear, and then going out and regurgitating it. It doesn't do anything for or to anybody. What we want to see is effervescent life. We want to see spontaneity. We want to see limitless possibility explored in front of the audience's eyes in such a way that even the actors are surprised and the audience can feel that creativity in the air, like we all do in a rehearsal when something really magic happens for the first time. So yeah, I want to keep working to become somebody who loves rehearsal, which I do, I have to say, quite naturally, but in my paranoia at times I can hinder and curb that for fear of judgment and wasting people's time. If we love rehearsal and explore that in a bid to tell the story as well as possible, we'll never be wasting anybody's time.